In the some of the older stories of the Bible, maybe you remember this if you had some Bible somewhere in your upbringing, but there's a guy called Daniel, and immediately everyone goes, Daniel, lion's den. Not that story. This guy Daniel is taken from his home country. He's taken into slavery by the Babylonian king, and because he's clever, because he's like, I don't know, one of the cool guys, he's kind of taken into the Babylonian court, and what they do is they train them up. So every nation they take over, they bring some of them in, they take the brainiest, the best, the brightest, they bring them into their court, they teach them their stuff, and they're there, I guess, to help keep that nation down with some inside knowledge, but also to gain whatever good things they can from that nation they've taken in terms of ideas and all that. So Daniel's one of these guys. And according to his rules and customs of the way he lives and serves God, he's not allowed to eat certain foods. And so what happens is they get given this food whilst they're in training, and he's like, I can't eat that. Can't eat that, not going to eat that. And so he has to go, he says, look, I'll go on basically a vegan diet, and I'll be fine. And the guy who's in charge of him is like, well, if you get sick and you're not as good, it's like my head, literally back in those times, it probably is his head. But Daniel's like, no, let me, give me some time, test me, see if I work out better than the guys. I go vegan, they're all eating meat that's been sacrificed to some weird, twisted, old-fashioned god. So I'm just going to eat vegetarian, vegan style, and we'll see who turns out the best. And what happens is, and I don't like this because I'm not a vegan and I'm not a vegetarian, I like my meat, but hey, what happens is that he turns out healthier and better than the other guy, all the other guys, and the guy in charge then puts all of them on that kind of like vegetable only diet, and they're all healthier. Okay, nice little story. He does what God says and it works out for him. That's the basic point you can make on one level. But I was talking to some people I know in work, and I was thinking, when we go to work, there's a culture. We're often serving, Daniel's serving what I would call an ungodly king. Mainly, you're serving a boss or a system that is just a bit dumb. And I think the best wisdom comes from God. So at the moment, a lot of what I see around me, and I live right next door to a university, and I see this across the university, the idea is work more hours, get more done. It's been proven that once you go over a certain number of hours, actually you're going backwards. Once you get over kind of 40, 50 hours, a good solid working week, once you go over 50 and you get to 60, 70, 80, 90, those hours you're working, they're not worth anything because the work you're doing is so crap, you might as well have gone home. And if you use that time resting, the rest of your work is better. If we work, hard, but a good 8 hours a day, and we take a day off every week that's just completely switched off, and when I say a day off, I mean the tablet, the phone, everything gets switched off and no one can contact you. You completely switch off, you do something else. If we live this idea of working from our resting, filling the tank so that we have enough to work, we go on holiday, and when we go on holiday, we bin the phone, we bin the pad, we bin the email, we don't get contacted, and we go away and we do something entirely relaxing, then we have enough energy for the next thing to come. We don't rest from our work, collapse at the end, because that's dumb. We fill the tank. None of us would drive our car until it was empty and then go, oh yeah, maybe I should have gone to the petrol station. Like, none of us is that thick, but we do it with our bodies, with our lives, with our souls and our minds, the whole that is us. What if we fill the tank and then keep going? And when we get the warning signs that, hey, this is running empty, we go and fill it up again with some more rest. That's what's sensible. Well, what's this got to do with Daniel? Well, maybe you're not the boss where you are. Maybe you don't have control about the way that you live and work. But what if you went to your boss and said, look, do your deal. I'm going to work like this. You work it out. You come up with a plan, how many hours, how it's going to work. And you make sure you work your backside off, and you make sure that you switch off and rest when you go home. You say, this is how I'm going to work. This is what I'm going to do. Test me for a month. And against everyone else, I'll be at least as productive as everyone else. Don't claim to beat them. Don't make it competitive. That would be dumb. And if you win it, then maybe everyone gets it. And everyone gets to live a bit more relaxed, and you change the culture. Now, maybe it doesn't quite work. Well, rethink your plans. Come back to him in 6 months with a new plan. Say, hey, can I start like this? Can I try like this? I run a team of people. If somebody came up to me with, hey, I want to try this out, I think most of the time, unless it was completely barking and it looked like they were just doing it for no good reason, I'd say, okay, we'll give it a go. I might be skeptical, but they'd get to at least try and convince me. Now, you might say, hey, I'm a police officer. I don't get to do that. Hey, I'm a surgeon, a nurse, I don't know what. I get it. There's some places where this is going to land easier than others. But we can all influence both upwards and downwards. We can influence the people around us and say, what would it look like? How about we give this a try? Maybe suggest it in your slack time of the year, not your busy time of the year. Maybe suggest it in an easy place and then see if it can grow through. But we need to look after ourselves. We need to think about ourselves and make sure that we're healthy and strong. If you want to live life better, then take a leaf from Daniel, find the right way to do things, and then just gently challenge the culture that you live in and say, hey, what if we used our time well? We had a better work-life balance. Maybe we'd all be happier and healthier, and we'd all do our jobs better.